Wow, one of sadness. I'm excited about some of the future things that I think we can do with the decisions that were made. But at the same time, this is a moment to grieve, to contemplate the loss within the community. People are tied to their schools. And so I am, I'm excited about maybe some of the things that might come from some of the decisions.
School Board member Christine Varwig, welcome into WTOL 11 News on this Tuesday. I'm Jeff Smith. Kaylee has the night off. We start with breaking news on WTOL. We are breaking down the latest information on Toledo Public Schools sweeping district-wide changes following the passage of a $27 million budget cut. We've got team coverage for you tonight. Dan Cummins, Steve Iwanek, Faith Zahowski, all joining me live right now for this team coverage of this big story as we are breaking down what these sweeping changes, which are now approved, mean for the teachers, their union, and parents. We're going to start tonight with Dan Cummins, who joins us live in the studio. Dan, we were the first to break this story. Bring us up to speed on exactly what now is essentially set in stone.
Well, Jeff, district leaders stressed tonight that rising health care costs, declining enrollment, and reduced state funding all driving that shortfall. The plan has evolved over the past several months, but tonight the board set in motion Transformation Plan 2.0, which, as we've reported, includes school closures like Harvard Elementary, building repurposing like changing Bowser into a performing arts school, changes to start times, which the union says still needs to be talked about, and a review of athletics, what teams stay, what teams go. This plan has sparked protests and concern from parents and staff for weeks, especially when it comes to class sizes and the impact on students. District leaders say the current plan will save about $27 million when it's all said and done. We've been told there's a bigger number at play, that $68 million deficit. I do also want to mention, ahead of the vote on the transformation plan tonight, the board did approve a pay freeze for administrators. Reporting in studio, Dan Cummins, WTOL 11.
Faith Zahowski and Steve Iwanek joining us tonight for our continuing team coverage, breaking down what these sweeping changes mean for those teachers, their union, and how parents are reacting to the changes their students face. So we're going to start with Faith tonight. You had a chance to speak with union leaders who say they expected the outcome tonight, but they're disappointed nonetheless.
That's right, Jeff. Union leaders say they're disappointed with the vote and want more transparency from the board and the district. And behind them tonight, a sea of blue. Dozens of teachers wearing union shirts filled the room after rallying outside ahead of the meeting. A packed room of concerned teachers, parents, and students Tuesday night as the board unanimously approved the district's 2.0 transformation plan and all that comes with it. That applause was for Toledo Federation of Teachers President Kevin Dalton. Dalton took the mic Tuesday night questioning enrollment, the specifics on staffing cuts, and how the district will close a $27 million budget gap.
I think anytime you're talking about the disruption of students, lives, communities, staff members alike, I think you have to have all the facts. I'm not sure that they did that.
Union members rallied outside district headquarters Tuesday, also calling for greater transparency.
I think everyone wants more and clearer details. We need those hard answers, and we need them to be laid out so that we can know what the path forward is for ourselves, for our careers, and for our students.
Dalton also pushed back on a message from Superintendent Durant asking unions to consider a hiring and wage freeze, coming on the heels of the TPS administrators agreeing to do so. Dalton says the Federation cannot agree to something like that without more information.
We are in no position to recommend any kind of wage freeze at this point. We are still seeking clarification and additional information before we can make any kind of recommendation of that magnitude.
Other unions agreed, including AFSCME, which represents custodians, food service workers, and paraprofessionals, saying the district should have anticipated the deficit years ago and failed to bargain in good faith.
According to the information which we've been provided, they should have well known those deficiencies and deficit spending that had been occurring for years before that. So from our perspective, clearly they bargained, and I'm going to say not in good faith.
Superintendent Durant maintains the district has been transparent and says he remains open to sharing financial records with any union that requests them.
we're always forthcoming and want to provide all those information. We're willing to sit down with any of their group auditors to be able to sit and say, hey, let's have a conversation about what your discrepancy is, what our discrepancy. We'll sit down with them right now and go through the book just as they can see, but we are always open to that level of transparency.
Dalton says the union will sit down with the district right away to talk school closures, but any talks of a wage or hiring freeze are off the table until further financial details are shared. Reporting live in Toledo, Faith Sahowski, WTOL 11.
And we're also hearing tonight from parents and students and getting their thoughts on the plan and what concerns are lingering heading into the next school year. Steve Iwanek joins us now outside of Harvard Elementary School, a school that as part of this plan is now set to close. Steve, one mom told you that she may be considering moving her kid out of TPS altogether because of this.
Jeff, you have that right. It wasn't just union members who expressed concern in the crowd tonight. Parents were also in large droves sharing their thoughts with us tonight, including one mom who told me that she thought that a levy would have helped to bridge the gap with these massive financial issues that the district leaders say they are experiencing right now. But because of these cuts, that mom told me that she's considering moving her son out of Harvard Elementary and out of TPS altogether. The conversation of cuts at Toledo Public Schools couldn't be contained to a boardroom.
It's going to just be chaos. Like this, 8 schools, that's a lot.
It's on a street corner where we found Ashley Horton, a mom of a Beverly Elementary student who now faces a much different path next year.
We're concerned parents, and parents are out of panic right now.
She's worried that her son, who will have to decide between Burndale and Boucher, converted into an arts and science school, may not be able to succeed the same way and may need to move elsewhere. Is that enough of a concern that you're looking at alternative opportunities for your kids to get education?
Yes, I am.
Superintendent Romulus Durant says he knows the cuts are hard, but is promising that TPS is not cutting back on its commitment to kids.
It's a somewhat of a setback, but I always say that it's a minor setback for a major comeback, and what we're doing is going to band together, provide, and be innovative and creative, and begin to showcase what TPS has.
Same time, Horton feels that the district could have prevented some of the cuts, asking why the district didn't go back to voters first with a levy.
I think I would have, especially if it would have ended up being in the circumstances that we are in right now.
Durant says after voters passed a levy in 2024, changes at the state level left the district in a tough spot, making another ask uncertain.
Obviously, you're going to have a new governor come this fall. You have no idea what that biennium is going to look like, and we could go on a levy this fall and turn around and have to respond to that.
But he asked someone like third grader Jackson Isaacs over at Harvard Elementary, one of 8 buildings now being closed down. It's not about budgets or politics. All he wants is what he's had.
If it wouldn't be a school anymore, I would be real disappointed because I freaking love that school.
Now, we reached out to multiple school districts outside of TPS to ask them, are they anticipating seeing families from TPS wanting to move into their respective districts? One of the districts that got back to us was Washington Local, who did indeed tell us in a nutshell that they are anticipating that some families will be exploring the option of moving there next year. Jeff?
Steve, you are also learning an update tonight on a story that you first told us about last Thursday over efforts by one council member to protect the historic Harvard Elementary building. What do we know about that tonight?
Yeah, Jeff, well, I tell you what, this moratorium, we talked about it last Thursday. City Councilman here in Toledo, Adam Martinez, was leading this legislation. It is for an 8-month extension on a historic a moratorium on demolition permits for historic buildings. You take a look at this building behind me. Harvard Elementary was It was built in 1926, considered the castle on the hill, and Martinez called it a staple here in South Toledo. So this permit is going to allow council to sit down potentially with district leaders about discussing what their plans are for a building like this. That way it does not get torn down. Instead, maybe it could be converted into a community center or just a staple, maybe even housing here in South Toledo. But for now, here in South Toledo, Steve Iwanek, WTOL 11.